Hello everybody, welcome back to TechFusion AZ. This is Techie in AZ, also known as HPZK100. In today's video we will be looking at the best quality settings to record Star Citizen and also a quick optimization in Star Citizen to improve your average frame rates, specifically to help recording. So to start off, we'll be taking a look at the best quality settings to use in Star Citizen so you can record the best video you can if you are a YouTuber or a streamer or whatever you're doing. So for all of this, I am going to be using OBS as it is the most popular and, from my personal experience, the most reliable recording and streaming capture software I've used. Specs I'm running today is a Ryzen 7 1700X, stock clocks, 16 gigs of RAM, and a GTX 1060 if you are curious. Anyways, to start off, go to Settings in OBS and then go to Output and Recording, the Recording tab. So I wanted to show you my settings I use specifically, and also uh, why I use these settings. So for recording format, I use MP4 as the most popular recording format, and I've had no issues with it. YouTube sees it perfectly. I get really good quality videos from the MP4 format overall. Now, because I'm on a Ryzen CPU, I have the 8 cores and 16 threads, so I am using X264. And if you are unaware, X264 offers a smidgen more of quality compared to GPU hardware encoders like NVE and C and AMD's counterpart, and also Intel QuickSync. However, hardware encoding on the latest GPUs, specifically Maxwell and Pascal and Polaris, and upcoming Vega will probably as well. Those the hardware encoders used in those GPUs are so good and have gotten so good now that you can't really tell the difference between X264 encoding and GPU hardware accelerated encoding. So if you don't have a CPU like a 1700X or a 6900K or whatever high core count CPU you have, don't even worry about thinking of getting one. If you are considering one for streaming purposes or gameplay purposes, using the hardware encoder in the GPU is usually, or rather I should say, is the best. Or both are pretty much equal, so don't even bother. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Back to here. So I found out that about these other, or I'm sorry. With the rate control settings, you have CBR, which is constant bit rate. You also have ABR, which is, I believe, average bit rate, and VBR, which is varying bit rate, and CRF, which is not a bit rate setting, but a quality rate control. Now, I believe that CRF stands for constant. Actually, I forgot, but anyways, I'll go into the details of it. First off is CBR. So constant bit rate is going to make your stream or recording a specific bit rate and is going to maintain that steady bit rate. Now, this is the most popular and is the most supported, so if you're streaming to Twitch or YouTube, you probably want to use CBR still, but for recording purposes, I have found CRF to be the best, and I'll show you why in a few seconds. Next is ABR. Now, ABR is average bit rate, so this one's a little bit different from CBR in that it's gonna stay mostly at the bit rate you set. So, say you're doing like 2500, like OBS sets as default. Average bit rate is gonna stay around there, but yeah, it's just gonna stay around there. It's not gonna be constant, but it's gonna average around there, depending on your internet connection. Now, variable bit rate is a bit different. You set a bit rate, highest bit rate you can go, but the thing is, the variable bit rate will make it so that the bit rate will vary drastically depending on the scene you're using, and I believe it will vary based on the internet connection as well. I'm not sure on that, but I believe it does. But the last setting, and the one I use and I love the best, is CRF. And again, I forget what that means, but hopefully it'll come back to me here soon before I end the video. But anyways, on to what it means or what it does. So CRF is not like the other bitrate rate controls, like constant bit rate and average bit rate and those. Rather, CRF is a quality-based rate controller. So, as you can see here, you have no bit rate, you have a quality slider. So, which ranges, I believe, from 5? Let's see, will 0 go in? Yeah, 0, good, interesting. But anyways, 0 to, I believe, infinity. I'm not sure exactly, but um, basically what this does is the encoder will render the scene, the game you're running, at a specific quality, and will detune the bit or make stuff lower quality if they're the same color. So for a good example in Star Citizen, because we usually fly in space all the time and space is black, what the CRF rate control will do is basically make it so that when you are streaming or recording and you're in black space, all the black you see on the screen will be rendered the same, or rather, will be only one specific color. And with the magic of encoders and stuff, that makes it so that you can push higher quality through the encoder, and because of that, you can use less bandwidth in those areas. What's cool about this is that when you're pushing less bandwidth to those specific areas of the screen, you can reroute that bandwidth to other parts of the screen. So, say the dash or the speedometer or whatever is on your screen right now. So that's what I like about it, is that it only put the quality in the areas of your stream that is most important, and that would be the stuff like objects, yeah, objects, landscape, anything like that. Anything that's like lower detail, like just black outer space or the sky or stuff like that, will not be as rendered as high quality because it's not needed. So it's a much more powerful, much more optimized encoder. Try to use it if you can. And that is what I use for recording. Now, for streaming purposes, I don't really stream that much, but I have tried CRF for streaming, and it doesn't work with YouTube, if I'm correct. I remember it's been a while since I've done it, but if I'm correct, CRF does not work with YouTube, but uh, hmm, okay, maybe it does. I'm confused. Sorry about that. But try CRF if you can. Use it on YouTube. If you are having stuttering issues, like I believe I was having stuttering issues with CRF, which is why I believe it's not fully compatible, just go ahead and just use constant bitrate or whatever other bitrate controller you use. Anyways, on to audio. I personally use 48 kilohertz. I recommend you guys use 48 kilohertz if possible because that is what most devices run at these days, and 48 kilohertz just sounds better. You get a lot more frequency range using that sample rate. And then going on to see if I can find it here. Audio. Okay, going to output, then the audio tab. If you're recording, use max bitrate if possible of 320, which is the max OBS supports. Just max that slider out if you can. This will offer basically the same sound as in-game as you hear on the recording. Now, if you're streaming, you'll probably want to back this down. So back down to say, I would say 160, 128, or 192 would be a good one. So, but that's completely up to you. Try it out, see how it works with you. But anyways, I hope this helped you guys for the streaming part and the recording part of OBS. Now, if you guys are having issues with frame rates in Star Citizen, specifically when recording or streaming it, I have found a quick little optimization, you could say, to Star Citizen without even installing some funky program, third-party application, or hacking anything just through Windows Registry or stuff like that. All you need to have is Windows and a task manager. So in the task manager, once you're there, go to more details. Once you're in there, head to details, the details tab over here. Then in this whole pool of programs you'll probably have, just click on something and press S so that you can get to Star Citizen the fastest, or just find Star Citizen, the executable. Right click it, set priority, and use either above normal or high, and test both these out to see what's good for you. I personally have noticed setting it to high works sometimes, but then above normal works really well, so I use above normal mostly. So I usually just set it to that. Now be aware, or actually, hang on a minute. I should probably explain what this does first before I get into anything else. So what does this do? Well, what this does is sets when you set this to a specific, when you set the priority above normal for a specific program, like here in with Star Citizen, what that does is it tells Windows to make Star Citizen, in this case, a priority above all other programs when consuming resources. So let's say, for example, you're streaming and you're running Star Citizen, let's say. When both are at normal, they will have the same weight to them, the same amount of control over the CPU resources, and this could lead to bottlenecking from your processor, and especially because Star Citizen is single-threaded intensive at the moment as of patch 2.6.3, and running OBS streaming it will also use the same core as Star Citizen, so that can slow things down. So when you set Star Citizen to above normal or high, this will make it so that Star Citizen's resources come first before OBS stuff. What's nice about this is that the game will run smoother if you're maxing out other cores, just like when you're streaming, specifically in H.264, I should say. So this will help your average frame rates. Now, I have tested this, and for me personally, it has not, I repeat, not made my peak frame rates higher. It's only increased my average frame rates in certain scenarios. Even then, my average frame rates have only increased a little bit. It really depends on how many people are in the server you're running. So that is the optimization for Star Citizen. Especially helps when you're streaming. Now, if you're not streaming, just playing the game, it's basically not going to help. Maybe 5 to 10% frame rate improvement, which is basically like, I don't know, 1 to 2 frames per second in reality, so it's not really going to help you personally. You can also try out Windows 10's new game mode. That might help. I've tried it before. It does nothing, basically, for my purposes, or basically for my system. But yeah, anyways, I hope this has helped you a lot, and sorry if this video is kind of not structured as well as you might have hoped. I'm sort of new to this tutorial stuff on YouTube, so please bear with me. Anyways, if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a comment below or do whatever you want to do. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.